Welcome to the Challenges of Change, the podcast where we explore the transformative journey towards self-improvement and personal growth. I'm your host, Laura, a mindset coach in the health and fitness industry, here to guide you through the hurdles that life throws at you. In each episode, we'll delve into practical strategies and insightful discussions to help you manage stress, regulate your emotions, upgrade your mindset, and ultimately reclaim your sense of worth. I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey of change, challenges, and self-discovery. And we are back for another episode of the Challenges of Change. And I will warn you, my brain is feeling real bouncy. So let's bounce around because in true Laura form, it all interconnects. You just got to stick with me. So let's start with analogies. Let's start with analogies. I'm sure many of you have heard the analogy, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink it, right? This is an analogy that I use regularly in coaching because not even just in coaching, in life with friends, in life. Because there are so many times where we want something or we want someone else to do something, to realize something, to stop doing something. And we struggle with their resistance. And we can lead the horse to water. We can explain to them why they should drink said water. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's their choice. Okay, so that's one data point of bounciness, right? Horses, waters, analogy. The second main one is I'm part of this amazing leadership program called Leadership Tampa through the Tampa Bay Chamber. And it is an amazing 9-month course. And we just kind of started stuff. And yesterday was our day of belonging. And I got to learn so much more about my classmates. It was awesome sauce. And we went into a lot of like diversity and inclusion and what does that mean as a leader. And it was a really interesting conversation and just a lot of really interesting information in general because all of us are coming from different spaces, some in the nonprofit world, some in military, some in profit, like it just everywhere, right? And so what it means to us to be a leader and how to lead within our organization, well, it was just really, really interesting. And knowing me, I couldn't help but think about the personal pursuit of leadership, specifically your own, because I believe that leadership is kind of a multi-directional thing. If you're in a leadership position, or even if you have people who look to you as leader, even if you don't want to be a leader, you have an influence over them. But also, and most importantly, if you ask me, you are the only person who can really lead you. Now, most people tend to navigate their internal leadership through their inner critic because that's just what we were learned, or that's just what we were taught, I should say. Um, it works, it's effective, that's why people lean on it. And if you actually think about if you had a boss who communicated with you that way, who literally said to you the things you say inside yourself to get you to do things, how long do you think you'd stick around at that job? I've asked this to several people, and almost every single one of them is like not lying at all. Like, screw that guy. Like, I would not want him or her as my boss if that's how they were going to be treating me. Then why the fuck do you treat yourself that way? Is typically where I land. So let's merge these two, right? Like horses and waters, your inner leadership. A lot of what I see and a lot of what I hear from clients, other coaches, friends, just life, right? Um, is about how people are struggling with something that can be their own internal struggle of something they want to get themselves to do, to be that eat healthier, do a specific course, apply to something, whatever it might be, or struggling with an emotion they're experiencing or how to even engage with their emotions or something to do with someone else, right? So we're in the struggle. They will research, they will look things up, they will figure out where the water is. They can find the water, but that moment where they have to choose to drink the water, which in real life experience, it often means feeling uncomfortable. That's where they stop leading themselves. And that is also the most important time to lead yourself. So we were exploring concepts yesterday, such as uncertainty avoidance. And are you someone who needs to know all the details leading up to any type of uncertainty because you get anxious if you don't, or are you someone who's more flexible? And what this brought up for me is like, even if you're one or the other, you still would want to know how to do the other skill set because that sets you up for success. If there's one thing every single one of us can agree on, is that life is going to be messy. Whether we want to feel uncomfortable or not, we're going to. Whether we want to be in pain or not, we're going to. It is part of the human condition. It is part of what creates a meaningful life. We cannot escape that part. I think we can all agree on that. And that means the greatest power we have is in choosing how we go through it, choosing how we show up as a leader for ourselves as we navigate whatever preference we have in uncertainty avoidance. And I know a lot of my clients will say they understand it. They understand why they feel what they feel. They understand why they're struggling. They understand their anxiety. They understand their fear. They understand, but they won't implement. And it makes sense. Like logically, I understand this from like it feels icky. People don't like to feel icky. The end. And ickiness is inevitable, right? It's like back to the like shit out of luck, but like that's life. I know for me, the analogy I always use is foam rolling. No one that I know likes foam rolling, but they prefer it to being in pain. And what I mean is when you foam roll your body, you reduce the likelihood that as you're living your life, your body will randomly be like, hey, you're old, your back hurts. And then your back would be in pain all day, right? So, like, when you are foam rolling, you're ultimately choosing to put yourself in pain then. So you don't have to be in pain in another time where you have no control. And it's funny because we are such a controlling culture, society, whatever word you want to choose. Like, we love control and we do not take it when it comes to our own leadership. I don't get it. I really don't because I'm not someone who really likes control, but this is one of the moments where like I do. I do like to choose and control how I go through hard things, how I go through pain. And in that way, I'm grateful because it makes me a really strong leader to myself. But it's a choice of suffering. I would rather choose to foam roll and be in pain now so I'm not randomly in pain and have no control over it. I would rather choose to address my hard emotions now so that when I'm randomly at some event and I hear a song that reminds me of my ex boyfriend, I start randomly crying, right? Like I choose to go through the hard consciously because that's a leader I want to be. And I've learned that it does give me a sense of control and I feel a greater sense of agency. The challenge is so many people are like, I don't want to feel that. I want to avoid it. I don't want to think about it. Well, that just perpetuates the circle and ultimately makes it arise when you don't want it. I know like I said, I'm feeling really bouncy. So I know I'm being a little bouncy, but I really want you to think about what it means to be a leader within yourself and not just a leader by preference, like a leader within yourself by impact. How do you impact yourself with how you communicate? How does what you say to yourself make you feel each and every day? If someone else knew you spoke to yourself like that, how would you feel? Most people, ashamed, embarrassed, guilty. Why don't you feel that way about yourself then? And I'm not encouraging you to feel that way. I'm saying why are you okay with it? Why are you okay tolerating that? You wouldn't do it from another leader, so why are you okay being that leader to yourself? Okay, so communication, right? How do you speak to yourself? When you screw up, how would you want your best leader, your favorite manager? How did they help support you when you have made a mistake? Now compare that to how you support yourself when you make a mistake. Which do you feel like you learn more from? Because mistakes, again, inevitable part of like the sucky life parts. How did your greatest manager ever like celebrate you? How do you celebrate yourself? Do you celebrate yourself? We all owe it to ourselves to care about how we show up for ourselves. We are the only person that we are ever going to 100% spend all of our time with the rest of our lives. We cannot escape ourselves. We can choose to make that leadership journey a journey of destruction and pain, or we can choose to make it the arena of growth and wisdom. What we all can agree on is the pain's going to be there either way. So, what would add more purpose in your pain? And what type of leader do you need to be inside yourself to want to follow yourself? I really, really encourage you guys to think about, what do you need from yourself? What would be the changing element that would help you shift from the harsh inner critic, the shitty manager you're currently being to yourself, to the empowering one, to one who lifts you up, to one who believes in yourself, to one that makes you want to drink the water. You have all the power there. And because you know me, I don't like to leave you guys like hanging out to dry. I actually have something that I think could help each and every one of you. Just recently, I launched my community membership called the Challenger Circle, where each person gets the opportunity to make the change, as in take the information, you then gather the information if that's where you're at on the journey, and integrate it in a safe environment before you have to play in the real world. Call it practice. And if you think about it, that's what all great athletes do. They practice for the game. They've been practicing for the game, I mean, endlessly for professional athletes, but we don't practice in our real life, not with psychological skills, not with emotional skills. We don't practice. We just leave ourselves hanging out to dry and then we get frustrated with it. Well, this is an avenue to change that. And for the next 3 months, I'm actually giving everyone who joins $100 off. And there's a free membership, so like if you don't want to pay, you can do that too. But like if you see some of the opportunities or components that are included in one of the paid versions, you have the option to get $100 off for one of those. But ultimately, the first 30 days are free either way. So literally, I'm offering you something for free to practice setting yourself up for success, to then continue forever if you want to in the free tier and continue to have that supportive environment, not only to practice for yourself, but to support other people and find relationships of people who are in the same arena as you. Because I get it. This stuff's hard. It's hard to do it alone. It's hard to understand, am I that different? Is this something a lot of people struggle with? And right now we can all use a little bit more community. So that is my challenge to you today. Not just to get yourself to reflect on the type of leader you've been to yourself, but to consider, why wouldn't you join the Challenger Circle? It's free. Why wouldn't you? Because if you can't get yourself to do something that's free, maybe you have to be honest with yourself about whether you're really willing to change. And I'm not saying that to be harsh or to come down on you in any way. Sometimes the greatest step forward is just being real with ourselves. And that is what a great leader can do too. But that is all I have for you today. If you know someone who is struggling, this is a great episode for you to send to them, because maybe they will hear something that will be exactly what they need to hear. Maybe they're going to want to do the free membership. Maybe they're going to say, you know what, you're right. I'm ready to not be such a shitty leader to myself. You never know how one action might be exactly what someone needs. So share this, share your experience, share your growth, because together we're much stronger. Thank you as always for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Challenges of Change. If you're ready to stop stressing and reclaim your sense of worth, be sure to visit my website at www.changebychallenge.com. There, you'll find loads of resources, blog posts, and information on how to work with me, Laura, as your personal mindset coach. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Don't let burnout or any other obstacle hold you back from living your best life. Take the first steps towards positive transformation today. Thank you again for listening. Stay confident, stay inspired, and embrace the challenges of change. Until next time.